So guys, finally I has to come over here. I finally has to come over here again after the few days because I gotta go do the work. Uh, that is the reason why I didn't come here to do a stream. But we don't have to waste your time right now because we have no time much to do. So don't waste your time. Let's learn our the reading section and continue our topic. So the last time we are learning about the roaster, and before the roaster, we have learned about the founders and Elon Musk's go-to list, or just like everything. So everything that we have learned about that, the founders, mainly in the founders, that we have learned that how the whole board of X.com has they did almost wrong with the Elon, but Elon learned a little, so much lesson from it. So let's learn that about the cobbling the together pieces, the roaster. I think I have learned the founder completely. I think, yeah, I have learned. So let's go. This is a book. Let's go. So let's learn from beginning because I really can't remember where did I left once. The cobbling together by pieces. Okay, let's go. One of the most important decisions that Elon Musk made about the Tesla, the defining imprint that led to success impact on auto industry was that it should be its own key and components. Well, well, we have learned about this a little bit, but then literally, but like let's go on the well from here. Whose company? Okay, so one issue with the startups, especially those with the multiple founders and the founders is who should be in a charge. Sometimes the alpha male wins. As when the Steve Jobs marginalized Steve Wozniacki, and when the Bill Gates did the same to Apollo, so the Paul at the other times it's messier, especially when the different players feel that they are the founder of the company. Both Amber Heard and Musk consider themselves to be a main founder of Tesla. In Amber Heard mind, he had come up with the idea, enlisted his friend Tapani, registered the company, chosen a name, and got founders. Elon to call himself the chief architect and all of kinds of things, but he wasn't. The Amber Heard says he was just a board member and investor. But in a Musk mind, he was the one who put Amber Heard together with the struggle and provided the funding needed to start the company. When I met the Amber Heard and Wright and Tappening, they had no intellectual property, but no employees, nothing. All they had was the shell corporation. At the first days, the difference and the perspective was not a big problem. I was running a SpaceX must says, and I had no desire to also run Tesla. I was happy at least initially, but to be a board chair, let Amber to be CEO. But as the person who owned the most of the equity must have the ultimate authority. And it wasn't in a nature, in a default, especially when it came to engineering decision, he became increasingly involved. Tesla leadership team thus became an inherently unstable molecule. But for the first year or so, Musk and Amber Heard got along. Amber Heard handled the daily management of the Tesla at its headquarters in the Silicon Valley. Musk spent most of his time in Los Angeles and more made visits only about the once in a month for the board meeting or important design reviews. His questions tended to be technical, probing into the details of back-to-back motor and materials. He wasn't known for gushing emails, but one night early in their relationship, after the working on a problem together, he sent one to Amber Heard. The number of the product people in the world, Natanya, and I think you were one of them. They talked the most. They exchanged the mails at the night and occasionally socialized. I was never his drinking buddy. I was never his drinking buddy. Amber Heard says, yeah, but we were in each other's houses. Every now then went out to it. Okay, alas, they were too much. Unlike for the buddies movie to last, Uh, both were hard driving, high-strung, detail-oriented engineers who could be brutally dismissive. Of those they considered the fools. The problems began when Amber Heard had falling out with Ian Wright, who had been a part of the founding team. Their disagreement became so intense. Each tried to convince him to fire the other. It was tacit acknowledgement by the Amber Heard that Musk had an ultimate say. Martin and I were telling me why the other one of is a demon and needs to be thrown out. Musk says they are saying, Elon, you must make a choice. Musk calls trouble for the advice. Okay, who should we speak her? Who should we pick her? He asked. Stable replied that neither choice was great, but when the pressed his advice, maybe Martin in a laser, two evils must ended up the firing of the situation, depending doubts about the management of the Tesla. Well, uh, whose company? The company, like this topic has the great name that whose company? Because there were the Martin, Amber Heard, and Elon Musk, who both are doing the work in Tesla, and they mainly think about that they are the main founders. And even Elon said he's an architect. He's an architecture engineer, or other side, the Martin Amber Heard, he just like a chairman. But I'm right, who I will do. So, like between them or other employee, had began the conflicts about the who is the company, like who is the owner of the company. So later we know that this is design decisions. Let's know what is that. As Musk began to pay more attention to Tesla, he could not refrain from getting involved in design engineering decision. He would fly from the Los Angeles every couple of weeks to share design review meeting and inspect the models and suggest the improvements. Being the Musk, however, he did not consider his ideas to be a mere suggestion he baselite. When they were not carried out, this was a problem, because the company business plan called for the cobbling together a body from the Lotus and other suppliers. Without making a major changes, we had a plan to do a minimal possible modification, Tapning said, at least until they learned more involved. Amber had tried to resist most of the motivation, even if they would make the car better, because he knew they would increase the crisis and cause the delays. Musk argued that only way they to jump the start. Tesla was a rollout roster about customer. We only get to release our first car once, so we wanted to be good as it can be. He told Amber at one of the review meeting, Musk's face darkened, his stare turned cold, and He declared that the car looked cheap and ugly. We could not have the crappy looking car. Sell it for around $100,000. He later said although his expertise was computer software, not industrial design, he began putting a lot of time into aesthetic of the roadsters. I had never designed a car before. I was studying to every great car, trying to understand what it made of special. He says I organized overall detail. He will later proudly he later proudly note that he was honored by the Art Center College of Design, the Pasadena, for his work on a roadster. One major design revision that must made was to insist that the door of the roadster he be enlarged. In order to get in a car, you had to be a dog mountain. You had to be door mountain, a climber or the master controlized. He says it was an insane partial. The six lower 2-inch must found he had to sink, swing his rather large body into the seat, fold himself into a nail the fetal position, then trying to swing his leg in a full going on date. How's the woman were ever going to get in the car? He asked to so you ordered the board of the door frame lowered the 3 inches. The ring a redesign of the chassis meant to that a Tesla could not use a crash test certification. Lotus had added $2 million to a production cost. Like many Musk revisions, it was both correct and costly. Musk also ordered that the seats and wider. My original idea was to use the same seat structure that Lotus used. Amber Heard says otherwise we would have to redo all the testing, but Elon felt that the seat were too narrow for his wife butt, or something I got skinny butt, so I kinda missed off the narrow seats. Musk also decided that the original Lotus headlights were ugly because they had no cover or shield. It made a car look bug-eyed. He says the lights are left to the eyes of the car. So here to the you have the beautiful eyes that change would add another 508,000 to production cost. He was told, but he was adamant. If you are the buying a sports car, if you are buying it because it's beautiful. He told the team, so this is not a small deal. Instead of the fiberglass composite material that Lotus used, the Musk decided that the roasted body should be made from the stronger carbon fiber that made it a costlier out to paint, but it also made it a lighter while the feeling more solid. Over the years, Musk was able to use techniques learned to spaces and apply them and to Tesla, vice versa. When Amber Heard pushed back on the cost of the carbon fiber, Musk sent him an email. Dude, you could make body panels for at least 500 cards for a year if you bought a soft even we have at the SpaceX. Here, if someone tells you this is a hard, they're full of shit. You can make a high quality composites even in your home. No detail was to a small escape. Most mating a roaster originally had ordinary door handles or kind of a black click open latch. Must insisted on the electric handle that would operate with a single touch. Somebody who's buying the Tesla Roadster will buy it, or rather, touch somebody who's buying it Tesla Roadster will buy it whether it has ordinary door latches or the electric ones. Amber Heard argued it's not going to add a single unit or whatever sales. It was an argument he had made about the most of a must design changes must be relayed and electric doors handles became a cool feature that helped define magic of a Tesla. But as if Amber Heard want it added yet another cost. Amber finally got a push the despair. When the near to end of the design process, man decided that the dashboard was ugly. This is a major issue, and I'm deeply concerned that you don't recognize it as a such a it as such a must drove Amber had tried to put him off, begging that they deal with the issue later that just don't see the path and it path at the schedule hit. He wrote, I stay up at a night worrying about the simply getting the car into production sometime in 2007 for my own sanity's sake. And for the sanity of my team, I'm not spending a lot of the cycles thinking about the dashboard. Many people over the years, Kazari and relented, improving the dashboard could wait until after the first cars entered the production. But I didn't help the Musk Amber Heard relationship by modifying so many elements. Tesla lost a cost advantage that came from simply using the crash tested Lotus Alice body. It also added to the supply chain complexity instead of being able to rely on a Lotus existing a supplier. Tesla became responsible for the finding the new sources for the hundreds of the components from the carbon fiber panels to the headlight. I was driving the Lotus people. A lot of people crazy. Must says they kept asking me I was being too hardcore about every little curve of the car. And what I told them was the because we have to make it beautiful. So this was a story about the when they were designing.